Shalom, all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great Millstone. Shalom to the elect by Shem Rachak. My name is Yakaba from Plaintables camp. This is the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. It collapsed on March 26th. I believe that was a Wednesday. Let me look. Tuesday. March 26th, Tuesday, 2024. And go down. It's in Maryland, Baltimore. It says the Francis Scott Key Bridge was a steel arch-shaped continuous truss bridge. Let's go back up here. 2 people were rescued from the river. One had no injuries, while the other was transported to a hospital in critical condition. 6 members of a construction crew working on the roadway were reported missing, presumed dead. 2 bodies were recovered. All right. So that's according to Wikipedia's page. Now, this is the accident or other. So you can see the lights go out. So they're saying that's one of those sea attacks. Lights come back on. I mean, was it already headed for it? And goes right into it. Lights on. At least the front lights are anyway. And hit it. And it comes down. I think they're gonna zoom out. Yeah, got a wide shot. It should be cameras all over that all over the bridge. I have one of those talking heads that's going to go into what he thinks may be going on. This is Job 18:11. Terrors shall make him afraid on every side until it drive him to his feet. So this very well could be one of those sea attacks. You look up terror. Job 18:11 is H1091. We got Balaha or Balaha, and it says terror, destruction, calamity, a dreadful event. So that definitely was a dreadful event. Alarm, hence destruction, terror, calamity, an event causing great and often sudden damage or distress, a disaster. So this definitely is part of the terror. All right. This is small. Only a few, I don't know how many people died. Maybe they're not releasing a number, but at least 4. They were rescued 2. Well, rescued 2 bodies. 2 people, 1, according to Wikipedia, one died. And it was 4 more presumed dead. All right, so 6 total. 4 presumed dead. 2 bodies recovered. 1 was alive and 1 was dead. So 4, 5. And then you got the 2. I heard that were in the hospital, and I think 1 died. So maybe that's the 2 they rescued. All right. Now, I don't know if this guy is allowed to be on YouTube, so I'm not going to show his face. If you want to see his video, it's 24 minutes, 15 seconds long, and it's TIMCAST. And you can search for him on different social medias.
Around 1:30 a.m. this morning, massive cargo ship Dali crashed into one of the main support columns for the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, completely destroying the bridge, knocking several vehicles into the ocean, and cutting off one of the largest ports on the East Coast from traffic. This is a mass casualty event. They are calling it a catastrophe. And what we know right now is that apparently the ship said they lost propulsion, issued a warning before drifting into the bridge and slamming into the support column, destroying the entire thing. We have video. I'll play a longer video, of course. You can see here on the screen as the bridge collapses, there were several vehicles on it. There were, I believe it was road construction crews. I believe they've rescued 2 so far. Yeah, it says there 2 have been rescued. One, I believe, is in serious condition. There may be upwards of 20 people who are currently missing. First and foremost, this is cutting off a major port, which is going to have massive economic issues. I've seen many people report that this is a major port of entry for vehicles entering from the East Coast, but it's more than that. This bridge, we'll pull up the map and we'll go through all this, but this is going to have a serious impact on what happens. Now, the question is, how could this have happened? And the 2 big theories circulating on X, diversity hires and a cyber attack. I got to be honest, guys. I think the diversity hires hypothesis, or theory, whatever you want to call it, is a bit lacking. Many people are arguing that they use local ship pilots or captains. I think pilot is the right word. I'm not sure. The ship is a Singaporean ship, but into and out of port. Apparently, some people are saying that they use locals to drive for this reason, and that because of a diversity hire, this person failed to properly drive the ship, causing some overheating of the engine. It burns out. Something happened. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know exactly what happens. You can see the lights on the cargo ship shut down briefly, which has led many to say cyber attack. Now, we don't know. We don't know. But of course, a week ago, Ron Paul warned a black swan event is coming this year. And he's not the only one. It's not an idea he just made up. Many have been warning that for a lot of reasons, if you know what I mean, there will be a black swan event. So, of course, this means like a major catastrophic mass casualty event or economic crisis, something on par with the likes of, 9/11 perhaps, is what many people are concerned about. Let me start by showing you this video. We have this from Andy No. Let's see if we can make this big enough. So you can see the vessel here. Now pay attention. For those that are watching, the lights turn off right now. Just before, we're talking seconds before it slams, as it begins to turn and steer directly in, lights kick back on, and then it's it. Bang. Here we go.
Yeah, it looked like when the lights were off, it was not going toward the ship. I mean, it going toward the support beam. Or maybe it was already turning, and then it started turning more as it got closer. Let's see. Lights are off. It doesn't look like it's turning. And it started to turn before the lights came on. Okay. From what I see, it looked like it started to turn right before the lights came on. Right into the support beam.
So let's see. What's the time lapse? We're looking at about 15 seconds so far.
And then the lights turn off again, then turn back on again. So what's with the damn lights? So
it is now steering directly into the bridge, and you can see there's vehicle lights on the bridge in this video, Baltimore, Maryland, and there it is. It looks it slams in the bridge. The whole bridge just completely collapses. We do have other angles, I believe. We have another angle right. This might be the same footage just zoomed in. Yeah, okay, so the same footage just zoomed in. Many people, so Oren McIntyre says, there's been a lot of speculation over whether this was the result of a cyber attack or just another example of our competency crisis. One thing is for sure, we've created a system which is reliant on a level of complexity that we can't securely maintain. So if you watch right now, in this video, the lights on the ship all shut off before it appears to turn with black smoke coming out of it straight into the support column. I believe I have the original tweet from Andrew Tate here, who says, the ship was cyber attacked. Lights go off and it deliberately steers towards the bridge supports. Foreign agents of the USA attacked digital infrastructures. Nothing is safe. Black Swan event imminent. Oh, man. We got helicopters flying overhead right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ridiculously close to this bridge. For those of us here at Timcast, this will have a direct, I think it's probably fair to say an indirect impact on us. But no, maybe direct impact is a better way to phrase it. I mean, look, we're not in frequent use of this bridge, but we do use BWI Airport. So there are three main airports that service our show. We have BWI, IAD, and DCA. These are Washington, D.C. area airports. Baltimore is an option. It's equidistant. So if you land at Baltimore, you drive straight west, you can get to the West Virginia Panhandle. Or if you land in D.C., DCA is the worst because you got to drive through D.C. sort of, whereas IAD is just about outside. But those are the airports we use. BWI Airport is a couple miles, if maybe not even that much, from this bridge. Now, this bridge not only is by collapsing, shutting down the Baltimore port, it's also shutting down the alternate route around Baltimore up towards 95 into Philadelphia, New York. This is going to massively impact ground transport. A trucker, I don't know if trucks use this. I believe they do when they're trying to avoid going through Baltimore. In fact, I don't know. I don't know whether or not when you drive through Baltimore, you go through some tunnels. I don't know if truckers use it. I have to imagine they do, but oftentimes, and truckers, you guys can comment on this, you know better than I do, they go around the cities, specifically because of the height of bridges, tunnels, or otherwise.
No, the trucks use the tunnel in the harbor, in the bay, whatever you call it. They use it on 95. So I'm not sure how exactly where that is in relative to the Baltimore tunnel. But economic impact from Baltimore bridge collapse will be long-lasting. Trade group warns. This is Fox Business. Nearly 4,900 trucks traveled the Francis Scott Key Bridge each day, carrying 28 billion in goods annually. It says the collapse of Francis Bridge, Key Bridge, or it's called the Key Bridge. The collapse of the Key Bridge is vital passage for thousands of trucks per day, would do significant economic damage not only to the region but the entire country. Industry experts and Governor Wes Moore warned the Key Bridge and Port of Baltimore are critical components of our nation's infrastructure and supply chain, and the collapse will have significant and long-lasting impacts on the region. Sean McNeely, spokesman for the American Trucking Association, ATA, told Fox Business. The association estimated nearly 4,900 trucks travel the bridge every day, carrying about 28 billion in goods every year. All right. As a result, trucks moving hazardous materials will now be subject to roughly 30 miles of detours. Damn. So, it could be one of them sea attacks. All right. The scriptures tell you about terror. Or terror, the modern definition is called violence because of by political means. Rough definition. We got to be something political. A country doing it to another country. It could be internal. All right. But it's terror. All right. And the other explanation is the ship lost power. I don't know how often ships lose power like that. Use catastrophic power and then steer while there's no power and change direction as it appears to change direction while it loses power. Let's see. It says vessel traffic into and out of the port of Baltimore has been closed until further notice as recovery and cleanup efforts are underway. What about an investigation? That port, according to several reports, contributes to about 15 million in economic activity every day. That's a lot. Yep.
So let me see if I can pull up this this map here. You can see here on Google. So you've got BWI airports right there. And we do use the Baltimore airport. Of course, we're in the West Virginia Panhandle over here, Martinsburg being right there. So if we go straight down from D.C. or straight, it's a comparable distance. So this is going to have an impact on whether or not we can use BWI if it's causing massive traffic jams by cluttering up the rest of the roads here. This is 695. This is an interstate highway. You take, where's 95? 95 goes up and through Baltimore. You can see it here. 695 is the alternate route to go around the city of Baltimore to carry on back to 95 and make your way up through Delaware. So it's not just the roads, man. I suppose the question is, was it a cyber attack? Let me go through a bit of the what we know here. We've got the New York Times giving us the quick updates. And I'll just say right now, before we'll do some thought and experiments, thought and speculation, sorry. I think there's the first thing I thought when I saw this, cyber attack. I'll tell you why. It's entirely possible this ship lost control. These things happen. As many people have pointed out on social media, I don't know that I believe in coincidence anymore, especially considering.
Well, again, I don't know how often ships lose power and steer toward change direction after they lose power. I'm not sure how the governor or the motors work that turn the ship, because it does not look like it was going in that direction. Then it loses power, then changes direction. That's just suspicious to me. So, but either way, it's still terror. All right, but I think it's more so on the side of. I believe it was one of those sea attacks.
What happened in Moscow, though Vladimir Putin has said that the attackers were Islamic. So as much as he said they were fleeing to Ukraine and Ukraine may be involved, they appear to be. It could be extremist.
Okay, you don't use your own people to do these attacks. That's not the point. The point is, if the Ukrainians were behind it, they're not going to use Ukrainians to do it. They use other people to do it. I mean, that's not even I wouldn't even consider that. It has to be someone from that nation to carry out the crime, the murders. No.
Islamism or something like this. But when we're dealing with the active degree of war we are, I think you can spare no benefit of the doubt to the idea of accidents. Right now, the presumption from our law enforcement, from our military, from our federal government should be, first and foremost, was this an attack? Immediately, take a look at the logs, take a look at the control systems. Who was piloting this? Was it on autopilot? Was it using GPS? What was going on? I have seen industrial control system hacks using 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly what they did, but they were talking about screwing with autopilot or confusing the sensors on ships so that the ships will accidentally veer off in the wrong direction. This has been something we've known about for a long time, and I think people need to understand when it comes to cyber attacks, they are easy, terrifyingly easy. And the infrastructure of this country, 50 to 100 years old. I mean, not all of it. I read this really fascinating bit of trivia, and it asked, question, what is the oldest working machine still in use today in the United States? And I'm probably ruining the actual trivia because I'm not sure it's the oldest. But they mentioned that the power line grid for most cities is over 100 years old now, around 120 years old. And it's not been updated. We still have these old poles. We just put them back up. This machine has never been replaced. We've just built upon it. We've fixed it in certain points. But what you need to understand is not so much about the power lines. It's that there's something called industrial control systems, ICS. And it's not overly complicated. It's not they're all identical. But 10 years ago, 12 years ago, at the DEF CON and Black Hat conventions, and they do this every year, probably. It's called the I think they do the industrial control system hacking all the time. They talked very easily about how this stuff is all insecure and they don't know if we can secure it. A lot of this infrastructure was built in the 70s. A lot of the technology used in these large vessels is from the 70s. Take a look at these planes that we fly. You take a look at private jets, seriously, and you'll see many of them are very, very old. I've heard enough right now about the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse to think it could be an accident. But there are still many questions that I think lead to a potential it was a deliberate attack. We don't know. The official statement from the government is it was not intentional, it was an accident. But boy, it's fascinating how, with all of this space, the ship just perfectly, over a period of 20 minutes, just turns right into this pillar. Now, I think it's fair to say that we should be operating under the assumption that it was an attack because we are involved in numerous international conflicts. But it very well may be a perfect storm of an accident. The way they described it, many individuals described it yesterday in our super chats and our members over on Timcast IRL, was that the power goes out and the ship is now like adrift. When the power kicks back on, they restart the engines and crank it to full power. And anybody who's ever watched a balloon, when you release the air, it just sputters in random directions. The force in the back is pushing so hard, it's shoving the front of the ship to the right. Makes sense. It's kind of like how if you've ever launched a firework, it could like veer off because the pressure in the back is so high, it's trying to push itself forward and then the weight tips. And yeah, it makes sense. And so they dropped the port side anchor to try and correct for this, but it wasn't enough and it slammed into the pillar. Makes sense. But I certainly think an investigation is warranted. And we didn't get one. The bridge collapses and a couple hours later, they're like, everything seems to be okay, everybody. Don't ask questions. Your government is in control. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, I don't know how he got it. They cranked it to full power, and it just veered to a certain direction. But why was it in that direction in the first place?
Said there should be an investigation. Was it an accident or was it an attack? And I think that is the intelligent thing to do. But then we see this. The Wire creator David Simon calls Marjorie Taylor Greene a submoronic pratfall of a human being for questioning if the Baltimore bridge collapse was intentional and demanding an investigation. Huh? I kid you not. Jimmy.
Okay, so you got some people that believe that it's don't investigate it. Okay, but the official, I guess, government American stance is that it was an accident. But either way, that's terror. It's terrifying. It could have been the sea attack, and more to come. All right, everything is controlled by the spirits anyway. All right, nothing happens by an accident. All right, as it is written, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities. All right, I'm gonna leave that there. Hope you're edified. Shalom.